You know when something's not right, yet rarely do you step into the breach and correct somebody. You knew when your parents were telling you bullshit, but rarely did you step into the breach. Rarely, if at all. You know at work when people are full of shit, but rarely you step into the breach because you're afraid of losing your fucking job, because you're a cunt. You know the difference, except if you're Irish, you know the difference between right and wrong. Couldn't say that without laughing. Anyway, you know the difference. There's an Irish right and wrong, but anyway, that's a whole other story. One of my best friends, John Mulcahy, Carmelite priest, has known me all my life. He's dead now. About 6'6", 330 pounds. Used to wear the brown robes, all the thing around his waist. I saw him beat kids almost to death with that fucking thing. And then when he got old and he was here, I reminded him, I have no recollection of that, Danny. I mean, aren't you mixing me up with Father George or Father? These are other priests. No, John. I know who was beating these kids. No. And then he'd go in, well, the church made a lot of mistakes. And yeah, John, I heard all that shit, you know. But God love him. God rest his soul. I gave him a case of Beefeater gin for Christmas. I gave it to him on the 21st of the month. Our sons and I went to have dinner with him on January the 2nd. And I asked the maid or whatever that works in where he lived, I'd like a gin martini. She said, I'm sorry, sir, but we're all out of gin. Didn't we just deliver a case of Beefeater gin? Yes, sir, we're very thankful for it. Well, where is it? And she goes, then she looks up at Father John over there. He drank the whole fucking case? Well, he may have had Father George in for a drink, but for the most part, yes, sir. Are you, and then I go to John, are you fucking me? You drank the whole motherfucking case? Oh, that's bullshit. And she was a Vietnamese girl, lying little bitch. Yes, priests do swear, in case you didn't know that, you know. We used to call him 4, 5, and Fogarty. His last name was Fogarty. When he played golf, he never would score less than a bogey, even though he had 12 or 14 on the hole. And he'd say, people would ask him what he did for a living, he'd say, I'm in the fire business. I help people get out of fires. He was talking about the soul, burning in hell, that kind of shit. And then he'd be at the bar. He had a big fucking belly, and he'd be at the bar, and he could almost set a drink on where the belly rolls out like this, you know. God rest his soul. Okay, any questions before we adjourn? Tonight, you're going to see some other icon luminaries. And again, success leaves clues. These, you know, you're going to see all these people. Now, the people that you've seen on the webinar, now these aren't hard-ass people. These are just regular, you know, wusses that I've unleashed on the humanity through the QLA model. The Navy guy was a real warrior, but other than, I mean, they're not warriors. Now, tomorrow, at the end of the day, I'm not going to ask you just who you relate to, if any of them so far today. But you relate. You know, some of you may even relate to some of the guys you've seen today. But they're just regular folk, as they say, that decided they had enough of being a wuss.